Kelly, that triple wing's a heck of a fly, but I just couldn't see it in a lot of cases. I missed a few fish. I got one real nice fish, but maybe you have to be younger to fish this fly. Yeah, just couldn't see it.
Well, you know, especially with these little bugs, that's why we came up with this one. This is the high-vis Comparedun Spinner.
Why didn't you give me that one?
Well, you know, you Western guys got the advantage on us, remember?
Yeah, I like the looks. I got to get my glasses.
I had the same situation that you were having with that fly.
Ooh, I like
fantastic fly, great silhouette, but on these 20s, 22s, I had the same problem. I couldn't see it, especially when you got high sun like this. I couldn't see in the fly in the film. And so what I did with this Comparedun Spinner is I took the high-vis ComparaDun we fished earlier in the morning, and I took the triple wing spinner that you've got there and I combined them. And all that is that instead of having 3 wings, I've only got 2, especially on these little flies, but I have the back wing, and then the front wing is the fan, like a ComparaDun, or a high-vis ComparaDun. And from underneath, it shows you the silhouette of a spinner, but on top I see the sunlight in the high-vis, and that's why I wasn't having any trouble seeing it.
This is for you old blind guys like me.
Yeah, I'm catching up to you there.
Okay, well, let's go tie this fly so that people can see how to make it work.
All right, buddy. Well, the next fly we're going to tie is called a Comparedun Spinner. This fly was developed on the Bighorn River. I was fishing with Mike Craig out there, and we were fishing tricos. And the problem I was having is that the low light, morning light, you know, when tricos emerge, I could see the Comparedun spinners later in the morning, and but I couldn't. I'd have trouble seeing the full-on spinners when they're fly we were going to tie later called the triple wing spinner, and they'd get in that low yellow light, and I would just totally lose them in the glare. But I could see the Comparedun spinners as easy as, you know, number 12 for all practical purposes because of the light that the high-vis material catches in the wing. In the book, I talk about taking a paper and pencil with you to the river and looking at a particular bug and doing a diagram of it, just doing a silhouette of the natural, and then comparing your fly's silhouette to that one that you've drawn. And what that does just shows you, without distraction of, you know, segments in the body and things like that, just shows you the black and white silhouette, and basically that's what the fish is seeing from the underside. But what I was doing on the river was I was losing the fly in the glare of the river, so I needed something I could see a little bit better than the traditional triple wing. So I took the 2 of Dave Ellis's flies, his high-vis ComparaDun and his triple wing spinner, and I combined them. And what that did, it didn't give me a totally accurate wing silhouette, but it was with the 2 sets of wings, it gives me a pretty accurate representation of the wings, and then it gives me that high fanned ComparaDun style wing that I can see from as far as I can possibly cast. The light just absorbs into this high-vis material, and it makes it visible no matter what light I'm in. And again, I don't think the fish can see it because you've got a broad base from the bottom side, and if you felt like you had to, you could probably clip off a little bit, but I've never seen it be a factor. Today, when we were on a spring creek, which is about as hard of conditions as you can possibly encounter, the fish, you know, ate it as quickly as we got it near them. So I don't think that's ever been a real problem. I'm going to show you 2 styles of the Comparedun spinner. It's strictly in the tailing, and today it happened to us on the river that they were not, the fall bugs frequently have their tails kind of joined together, and instead of having the traditional splayed tails, we used the wing material as part of the tail. And I use that particular type of tail even more than the normal microfibet tail or a split tail of the traditional flies. So again, we're going to tie this one with a little bit bigger hook than I normally use for the particular fly we were using today, which was a 20, and I'm going to be tying this on a 16 just so it's a little bit easier to see in the camera. For this one, we're going to use an 8/0 thread, and it's not really relative what type of thread you use. What's critical with this fly is that it's always tied with thread, and the abdomen is, and the only way you have to change it is to change the color of your thread. And again, today when we were fishing, we started with a particular color, and then we saw the mahoganies, and we simply changed. I had the same fly tie with a different colored thread, and they immediately picked up on that. So the little betas we were seeing today had kind of a light olive abdomen, so that's the color thread I'm going to tie just by chance that we go back tomorrow morning, have a couple extras. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to start the thread just behind where you want the head to be, take it back to the halfway point and advance back up and cut your thread off here. The critical part of this fly is leaving yourself enough space between the eye of the hook and where you're going to tie the first wing in to be able to stand the wing back up. On a poorly tied Compara spinner, what you'll notice is that the wing will have a tendency to go forward like that. And what's critical to a ComparaDun, rather you're using high-vis material or you're using hair, you want the wing to stand up at a right angle. So it's straight up on the hook. And it's hard to see until I tie it in, but you want this material to be straight up and down, not leaning forward at all. And on this particular one, I'm using high-vis material for the wing, and I've already cut a couple pieces of it off here. I'm going to use two different sizes. The first one I'm going to tie in is the wing, and again it's going to be at a right angle. It's going to be a little thicker than the next one. Basically it's going to be twice as thick as the wing that's going to go behind, but this is the one that I'm going to see, and I need this one to spread out, and you'll see when I continue. But the critical thing is that I got to get a right angle on it, and I have to leave enough area between where I start this and the eye to build up in front of it to create that right angle. So I'm going to do just a pinch wrap here. I'm going to do 2 wraps, and I'm going to kind of tighten it down a little bit, and then I'm going to look. I'm going to pull that back to make sure that I'm going to have enough, because I'm going to build up right here in front of the wing, and that's what's going to force that wing backwards. And because again, I don't want it to ever do this when it's in a fishing condition. If it starts going forward, whether it's hair, high-vis, any type of material you use, and when it starts going forward, it's totally unnatural. Because again, this is going to be a spinner, but I need if it's going forward, it's going to have the wings going in front of the bug, and it wouldn't do that. So I'm going to unwrap that one there that I had in front. I'm going to get 2 secure wraps right on top of this. And I'm going to push my finger down on this. I'm going to try to spread this stuff around the hook a little bit. And that's because this isn't a dun, it's going to be a spinner, so I need that to spread out when I trim it all off. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to do progressively going backwards. I'm going to do 2 or 3 more wraps, trying to keep it nice and snug. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut this, at least 2/3 of it off right there. That's going to be my thorax region. And then I'm going to take the rest of that and I'm going to advance.